Believe it or not, there are still some communities in Southwestern Ontario that are getting multiple offers on homes. Okay, it's not as bad as you think it is. We're gonna go over the market in Windsor, in London, in Southwestern Ontario as a whole. Okay. Also, Tiff Macklem and his band of merry men have announced another interest rate. This is the second cut in a row. So now we're down to 2.25 as the overnight rate. So what does that actually mean for you? Is it a good time to buy? Is it a bad time to sell? Are interest rates going to continue to drop? Will housing get more affordable? All of these questions we're going to answer in this episode of this show that has no name. Okay, my name's Ryan. I'm a real estate agent in Southwestern Ontario. If you're getting this by email, you've subscribed to Market Updates. Okay, if you're looking to buy or sell and you need some help in Southwestern Ontario, that is what our team does, and we do it very well, all right? You can text me, tell me your goals, your situation, and then I can tell you if we can help you, if now's the time, if it's not the time. That's my phone number right there on the screen. You can reach out anytime, okay? First off, be weary of things that you read or hear on the internet or even CBC News or YouTube, me included, okay? I've been seeing personally a lot of news from Toronto real estate agents or mortgage brokers, and same with the news, it's usually Toronto-centric, and they're saying, oh my God, it's a buyer's market. The sky is falling. There's foreclosures everywhere. Listen, it's not true. No, I mean, maybe in Toronto, maybe in Vancouver, okay, but Ontario isn't Toronto. Canada isn't Toronto. Windsor and London are very different markets. They're even different from each other, let alone Toronto. So things are different here. In fact, in Windsor, it's very different. There's still houses selling with multiple offers on them in the Windsor area. Okay, not as many as before, but still, I mean, this summer, there was one that I was a part of with 18 offers. And even in this fall, we're still seeing some with 3, 4, 5 offers on them. In fact, look at this right here. So this here is a house in East Windsor in a nice neighborhood. It's a brick bungalow, good starter home. This here was listed at $399,000, and it sold 5 days later. Let's get to the inside here, just so you can see. Yeah, this sold 5 days later for $475,000. So listed at $399,000, sold pretty much $75,000 over the asking price. Now, the same month that this sold, where's the news here? Hold on. The unemployment rate was 10.4%, the highest in Canada. All right? So the question a lot of people are asking is, how is this happening? How can you simultaneously have the highest unemployment rate in the entire country and still have one of the most resilient real estate markets? Well, there's a few things I want to tell you about. One, they obviously priced this lower than what it's worth, okay? This house was always worth $475,000. They priced it at $399,000 to attract multiple buyers. But even still, in order for that strategy to work, there has to be multiple people in that price range looking to buy a house that exact week and ready to pull the trigger. And that doesn't happen unless there's still a lot of demand. And that's my second point. Windsor and London have received a ton of interprovincial immigration, or migration, I should say, and intercity, I guess you'd call it intermunicipality migration. We are getting flooded with people from the GTA and Kitchener and Guelph and Hamilton and anywhere where housing is more expensive than it is down here in this section of Southwestern Ontario. Because of that, even though, the unemployment rate is at 10%, that still leaves a whole ton of people moving to town with money. And even if you just do the math, if there's 375,000 people in this county, 10% of that, okay, that still leaves what, 340, 350 people employed that might be wanting to move? But I'll reiterate again, like a big part of this is people with work from home jobs that are moving to the area, or people that can just transfer down to this region. Listen, 50% of my clientele every month is people moving to the area from other parts of Ontario. So that is a big part of this, which leads to point number 3 is supply, right? So basic supply and demand, economics 101. If demand increases, you have to increase supply. And Windsor has done an awful job of that over the past 5 years or so. In fact, London has done a much better job. I'm going to show you something in London in a few minutes. But first, I'll show you this article from the Windsor Star that reiterates my point. New home construction pretty dead in Windsor area, and then they're blaming the trade war. But to be honest with you, long before the trade war, we were really slow at building homes, at rezoning land, at getting all the permits and all the red tape out of the way and putting shovels in the ground. This article is from this summer, from late June, but there's just not a ton of new builds going on in our area. Now, like I said, London has done a much better job of this. So if we go to London, okay, and I go, let's search by new, active, brand new homes. Where's the age? Right here, new. All right, or even 0 to 5 to show you how well they've been building over the past 5 years. And we'll just do Middlesex County. All right, we've got 300 plus matches. Let's go to the map. It's not even going to show me because there's too many dots. You got to like scroll in, right? So there's dots. These are all active right now that are brand new or built in the last 5 years. There's a ton of homes. There's new neighborhoods. Every time you drive around London, you're passing a new neighborhood that's a forest that has a sign up saying, you know, like townhomes coming soon, new detached coming soon. It's everywhere. And because of that, the market is a little bit different in London. You know what? I'm going to do the whole London market in just a second. First, I want to finish up on Windsor. I want to say two things. Okay, first of all, if you bought in Windsor in the peak of the market, it's like 2022, don't beat yourself up too much. First of all, life happens. You got to move when you got to move. You likely didn't have too much of a choice. Second of all, just hang on. The fact that we have this few detached homes or even townhomes being built that are brand new, we're not adding much supply into the marketplace. And think if I'm getting multiple offers on houses right now in the middle of a recession in Windsor, think about what that means when we're out of a recession. Think about all the buyers right now, all the people that want to be homeowners that are currently sleeping or they're on pause. They're waiting to see what happens with the economy. All those people are going to come back into the marketplace all at once. And I personally believe you're going to see prices bounce right back up. I don't know if it's 2026 or 2027, but there's going to come a day when we're out of this recession and we thought demand had tampered down. It's not. It's just on pause because the economy is scary and we have trade wars. We have all these things going on. When we come back, you think we got multiple offers now. Wait till all the demand comes back in the market. Wait till the economy looks a little healthier. The second thing that you need to remember is even in normal times when the economy was like handled better by our government, if you look at this is the price graph of average prices in Windsor going back to 1967. The last time the Leafs won a cup, okay? That's how long ago this was. Every time there is a recession and the price dips, it returns back to where it was pretty quickly. The exception being the early 80s. But even in the 90s, we reached the peak, it dipped for a couple years, and then it's right back to where it was. Or over here, the Great Recession, 2008. So we peaked 2007. 2007. It goes down a couple years, and then it's right back to where it was by 2010, 11. So you got a couple years where if you don't sell in those years, you're not losing money. And then right after that, of course, each and every year, 28, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, the prices get higher and higher and higher. So you recover quickly within a few years, and then you're okay. It doesn't look, buying a house in 2007 doesn't look like a bad decision now, does it? No, and buying a house in 1990 didn't look like a bad decision by 1997. In fact, you were way higher. It doesn't look higher on this graph all that much because, of course, this is a giant scale because prices are way up here now. But going from here to here, I mean, that was 15, 20% more, okay? Anyway, my point is we haven't fixed the housing problem and the prices will rise again eventually. If you're curious about the average prices, this is the chart for the past year in Windsor. And as you can see, there's some up and down, but it's not drastically changing each month. In fact, it goes down and then it usually recovers right after. So we're hovering right now. It's $565. That's the average price of a freehold home in Windsor, Essex. the month before that, it was 583, and then it was back down to 564, then it was 588, and then it was down again. So we're really just hovering between the 560s and the 580s. The prices aren't really dropping right now in Essex County, but things are slower. So people that were used to always, no matter what, getting multiple offers are now sitting on the market for 30 days, or they price too high, it sits, you know what I mean? There's a little bit different of a feeling. If you want that multiple offer situation in Windsor, you got to be in a good price point within the city center, and you can't overprice it. All right, let's talk London. So London, like I said, they have been building, baby. There's new builds all over the city of London, so there's more supply in the marketplace to meet that demand. But it's still not bad. So it is a balanced market. So let me show you something here. So if I go over here, so this, by the way, average prices in the London area, it did dip at the end of September down to 637, but we've been hovering in the 660s. It was down in 630 earlier in the year. We're hovering around that 630 to 660 mark there as well. But I want to show you something. Days on market? No. This is months of inventory. So this stat shows if we stopped adding new properties to the marketplace today, how long would it take to sell everything on the market, okay? Anything under 3 months is a seller's market. Anything over 6 months is a buyer's market. And that in between, that 4 and 5 months mark is usually considered a balanced market, meaning if you put your house on the market, it's going to sell in 30 to 60 days, usually sooner than that, 30 to 45 days, as long as you've priced it right, okay? So this here shows the whole year so far. So in the summer, we got down to, 4.6 months of inventory, which is a balanced market, but that's not drastically, you're not near a buyer's market. That's not it. Sellers were selling their house pretty quickly throughout the whole summer. Here in the fall, we've jumped up a bit to 5.44 months of inventory. So that's still under 6. That's still not quite a buyer's market yet. And that's only 1 month that we've hit that. For most of this year, yeah, we've been in the low 5s to mid 4s for months of inventory. So again, I want to reiterate. In London, your house will sell within 30 to 60 days, usually 30 to 45 days, if you've priced it right. Which brings me to my next point. I'm seeing in London a lot of stubborn sellers who can't sell their house because they priced too high. So if you're trying to make sense of why, hey, it's a balanced market, but the house has been on the market for 8 months, it's priced too high. Okay, there's two types of people in London that are pricing too high right now. You have people who are a little bit greedy, and then you have people that don't have a choice. So the greedy, okay, so there's a lot of people I see and that I've spoken to that are looking to sell their house, and they're going, Ryan, I had it listed and it's just not moving. Why can't I get 1.5 million right now? And the answer is because it's worth 1.2 million, okay? It's as simple as that. You're used to 2022 prices. The market in 2022 was an extreme seller's market. Now we're in a balanced market. So obviously that means the prices will have come down a little bit. All right. There are still a lot of sellers out there that can't get 2022 out of their head, or even 23, or even 24. We have come down quite a bit. We are in a balanced market. But if you put your house on the market and it's been up there for 30, 40 days and it hasn't sold, maybe it's time to start asking, is my price too high for today's marketplace? The other people I see that just cannot lower their price is people who cannot lower their price because they mathematically can't, because they purchased their home after COVID, which a lot of people did. There's no shame in that. They're trying to move. They're trying to get what they can out of the house without losing too much money. That's their situation. However, if the move needs to happen, you might need to have a serious talk with your spouse about what price do we really need to be at to get this thing moving in today's market. I really got to advise you not to leave your house on the market for an extended period of time, because there's something called the stigma, all right? Because what do you do when you see a house on Realtor.ca that has been up for like 9 months? You go, what's wrong with it? It looks nice. I wonder what's wrong with it. You do not want people saying that about your house. So if you have listed your house right now or are thinking about listing your house, you have to just take it. If it's been on for 9 months, take it off the market. And wait until the market is at a place where it will sell for what you can accept. Or you have to lower your price to what the market's currently able to give you. Anyway, to illustrate my point, I want to show you a couple in London that have sold recently. Okay, so this one here, this sold in 12 days. They listed it at $1,080,000 and it sold for $1,030,000 12 days later. So that shows they were well within what the market feels the price is, or they were willing to come down to that price point. I just want to flip through the photos to show you. This is a nice house. Again, like at the peak, these were selling for 1.2 or more. And now you got this for just over $1 million. So, yeah, I mean, I know it's not a buyer's market, but if you go from a seller's market to a balanced market, there's going to be a price reduction in that. So this is the first one I wanted to show you. So this is the other one I wanted to show you. This is in a really nice neighborhood, and this took 123 days to sell. Again, the average is 30 to 45 days. This took 123 days to sell. And when it did sell, it sold for just about 150,000 under the original asking price, which shows you they were too high and they finally had to come down to reality. Now, who knows? 123 days ago, maybe the prices were a bit higher. Maybe they could have got more if they would have priced right in the beginning, rather than letting this sit for a long time and having a stigma develop about the property. Hey, what's wrong with it? Okay, so interest rates. Let's return to how we started the video, talking about Tiff Macklem, the Bank of Canada, and dropping the rates to 2.25%. So I guess the question everyone is going to be asking is this going to change the marketplace? And I don't think so. And here's the reason. I don't think everyone's going to start coming out and buying homes because they dropped it another 0.25%, especially since that does not affect fixed mortgage rates. That will affect variable rate mortgages. However, the fixed rates are based on the bond yield. So if you go into a bank today and you ask for a 5-year fixed mortgage, you're probably between 4 and 4.5%, depending on how much you're putting down on the property. So that hasn't really changed. So it's not like it's going to fuel too many people to jump out back into the market. Also, I think consumer confidence is huge. I think there is a ton of buyers in Canada, an absolute ton, who want to own a house, but they need consumer confidence. They're sitting on the sidelines waiting for good news. And every time you turn on the news right now, you hear about tariffs and how slow our economy is and job losses and high unemployment rates. That's not a great thing. That's not going to encourage people to get out into the marketplace and start buying. So I really don't think we're going to see housing prices return to higher levels or even just market activity until you start seeing more of that. Now, at the same time, during the press conference, the Bank of Canada, their predictions for 2026 were as follows. Macklem said there were some limited but modest growth for the economy over the next few months and into 2026. Said it's not going to feel very good, though. But he's trying to tell you it's not going to be a big, severe recession like it says here. We're not forecasting a sharp downdraft in the Canadian economy with big rise in unemployment, which is typical of recession. So he's saying, like, listen, we're not going to have a big, severe recession. We're going to slowly and painfully kind of come out of this recession, is what they're predicting. Okay, so 2026, who knows? Like, I don't think the rates are going to keep dropping. Not necessarily. In fact, he seemed to hint during this meeting that that was the last rate drop. Instead, I think you're going to slowly see consumer confidence creep back into the marketplace and maybe a few more sales through 2026. I don't think prices are going to drop, and I don't think they're going to spike back up either. So then the last question is now a good time to buy, to sell, to whatever you're doing, okay? And the answer to that is, well, it's a balanced market. So it's not a great time or a terrible time. It's just a time, okay? I think the real answer to that is you have to get specific about your situation. Like, it's a bad time to sell compared to 2022 if you're moving to a retirement home and you're just cashing out of the market. But in 2022, if you're selling, you're also buying. So, I mean, it's kind of potato patata on that front. If you're looking to sell your home and move to a bigger home, I think now is probably a pretty decent time to get the bigger asset at the lower price that it is now is better than waiting for the market to rise on the house you live in now and take more cash out. But then you're going to have to buy your bigger house at more money. And again, so if the market goes up by 5%, 5% of $1 million is a lot more than 5% of 500,000. In fact, it's double. So it's better to get the more expensive asset at a depressed price, which you might say we are right now. So I think that's probably good. It's also a good time if you're a first-time home buyer. I honestly believe you can't time the market and you can't bank on prices continuing to lower, especially since I just showed you that they're not really lowering. They're hovering. They're going, hey, down 30 grand, up 30 grand, down 30 grand, up 30. How are you going to time the market when that's happening? You're not going to. So if you're a first-time home buyer, I think now and over the next 12 months are a great time to jump into the marketplace. If you're looking to do any number of those things or just want to pick my brain and you have some questions, my phone number is on the screen. You can shoot me a text. Again, tell me your goals. Tell me what you're looking to accomplish. And I can tell you if it's a reasonable thing to accomplish in Southwestern Ontario, particularly London or Windsor. But we know we've got agents all over Southwestern Ontario. So feel free to reach out. That is my phone number on the screen. And as always, thank you for watching.